If your Mini starts up like this, it may be time for a new battery. I was shocked when I was quoted more than $600 from the dealership and from independent shops to get the battery replaced and registered, so I decided that I'll just do it myself. The best battery deal I found was from Costco for $170, but AutoZone also had a decent price for $250 for a similar type of battery. Materials that you'll need include gloves, safety glasses, a shop rag, a battery wire brush cleaner, a socket wrench set with 8, 10, and 13 millimeter sockets, a flathead screwdriver, your battery, an OBD2 scanner tool, a battery installation kit with felt terminal covers and dielectric grease is optional, but will help the performance of the battery long term. And then you'll also want a tray to collect all the nuts and bolts. And if you park under a tree, the inside of your battery compartment is probably filled with leaves. So go ahead and pull out a shop vac because you'll want to clean out all those leaves while you have the battery out. I also recommend using a memory saver kit. When you remove a battery from a car, power is lost to the car's computer system. And this can mess up not only the clock, but also window features, as well as having to go through an idle relearn process when you start the car up the next time. So to skip all this hassle, just use a memory saver kit, and I'm going to connect it to my kid's 12-volt Power Wheels battery, but you can also connect it to your roadside jumper battery kit. The first step is to pull the hood latch twice to pop the hood. Next, if you're using a memory saver, go ahead and plug it in to the car's OBD2 outlet. It's located above the hood latch and back near the brake pedal. Our battery compartment's going to be up here. Unlike some other cars, the battery will not lift straight out. Rather, it needs to be slid out and then pulled up on. Before we get started, remember your gloves and safety glasses. Let's see how long it takes. I'll start recording now. You'll need a 10 millimeter socket to remove these nuts and bolts. Next, we're going to pull up on this gray rubber foam clip holder and then pull out on the air sensor. On the airflow sensor, there's a gray tab that will pull back before we remove it. Next, we'll use our flathead screwdriver to loosen the hose collar. Next, hold the hose collar and pull away the intake assembly. Next, we'll pull up on this rubber stripping and move it out of the way. And then we'll move this clip over. Next, we'll take our screwdriver and turn those 3 clips into the open position, and then we'll lift up and remove it. Next, we'll use our 8 millimeter socket to remove these 3 bolts. Next, we're going to try to pry off this piece right here. Well, that worked. No worries, I was still able to find it. Next, we'll need our 13mm socket to remove these two bolts that hold the battery in place. Now we have one last bracket to remove that holds the battery in place. We have two 8mm bolts to loosen in order to remove the battery terminals. You should always start by removing the black negative ground connection and then the red positive connection. I'm going to use a couple of the shop towels to wrap around the metal parts of the terminal connections so that they don't touch any other metal pieces of the car. Even though the terminal connections have been removed from the battery, you can still see that the connection pieces are reading about 12.6, 12.7 volts. That's because we're using the memory saver. We need to be careful because there's still voltage running through those connections, which is why we're using those towels. The last step before removing the battery is disconnecting the battery vent hose. With a little bit of muscle, the battery should slide right out. Because there are so many leaves in the battery compartment, I'm going to use a shop vac to suck them out. We're going to use our battery brush cleaner to clean up the post on the battery to make the connections just a little bit better. Next, insert the vent tab on the opposite side of where the vent hose was. For me, that's going to be on the negative side of the battery. Like I mentioned earlier, this battery installation kit is totally optional. It's only $3 or $4, so I thought I'd give it a try. The battery terminals on my car were actually really clean, so I'm not sure how much a difference it will make, but if they were dirty or corroded, I would definitely recommend giving this a try. One thing that should be mentioned that I saw in other videos that you should not do is that you do not coat the battery post with the dielectric grease. It is an insulator, not a conductor. It just goes on top of the battery terminals once it's been installed. If this video has been helpful so far, please take a moment to like it and to subscribe to this channel. Now it's time to put the car terminals back on the battery, and this needs to be done in the reverse order of how they were taking off. So first we put on the red positive terminal, and then we'll connect the black negative ground terminal. You can coat the top of the battery post with the dielectric grease. This will help seal the connection and hopefully prevent any buildup in the future. With our battery installed, we can remove the memory saver. With the memory saver now removed, we'll insert the battery registration tool into the same OBD2 port. I'm using the Autel MD808 Pro scan tool to register my battery, but there are more affordable options available, such as using a Bluetooth OBD2 scanner such as VPeak, and then downloading the Beamer Link app on your phone to register the battery. Beamer Link is specific to BMWs and Mini Coopers, and for approximately $35 to $40, it's a great diagnostic tool and a great tool to register your battery. I'm going to walk through the process on how to register the battery with the Autel scan tool. You'll start with Service, go down to BMS for Battery Management System, go over to Europe, we'll scroll down to Mini, it says to turn off the ignition, wait approximately 10 seconds, and then turn the car back on. But I'm only going to give it auxiliary power, I'm not going to turn the car all the way on. It's asking to select the make, so I'll select Mini, and then the model, F56. Next, I'll select power supply. Then I'll select number 2, battery. And then I'll select number 2 again, register battery replacement. I'll select the number 2 again, same, register battery replacement. Because the replacement battery is also 80 amp hours and an AGM battery, I don't need to recode the battery, I just need to register the replacement. The next question asks if it's an original BMW component. That's no. And it now says that the battery replacement was successfully registered. If you thought the step-by-step battery registration was helpful, please take a moment to like this video. And now the fun part begins. We get to reassemble everything we took off. And don't forget to plug back in your vent hose to the new battery. In the end, I saved almost $200 by putting in the battery myself, and I got a cool scan tool out of it to use on my other cars as well. If I were to use the Bluetooth scan tool along with the BeamerLink app on my phone, I could have saved more than $300 on this project. So that's how you install a Mini Cooper battery. It took about 35 minutes, which included 10 minutes of cleaning the leaves out of the battery compartments. Overall, pretty simple procedure.